Okay, good morning students. We will be starting off with the second chapter today, which is on field effect transistors. So far we had discussed about clippers and clampers in the first chapter. So this chapter will focus on the construction and mainly the features of the field effect transistor, where they are actually used mainly for the biasing circuits. Okay, so to start with the contents, the chapter contents, let us just very quickly go through the main chapter contents. Introduction about JFETs, then we'll be looking at the construction and the characteristics of a junction field effect transistor, the transfer characteristics. Further, we'll also look at the construction and the characteristics of depletion type MOSFET. Okay, MOSFET is a slightly improvised device when compared to a JFET. We will also look at enhancement type MOSFET. Okay, depletion and enhancement type MOSFETs. Then we'll also have a very brief introduction on CMOS. CMOS stands for complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Next will be on FET biasing, which is a more important and technically more relevant topic. So we'll be looking at three types of biasing with respect to FETs: fixed bias, self bias, as well as voltage divider bias. Then we'll also try to understand the biasing techniques which are involved in depletion type and enhancement type MOSFETs. Okay, fine. So a very quick small recap about the early development of FETs. Okay, well, when we talk about transistors, okay, the first transistor was invented way back in the year 1947, okay, by three people called Shockley, Barden and Britton. Okay, we all know about it, and the first transistor was a germanium based transistor. It was not a silicon transistor, it was a germanium based transistor. Then it took nearly 7 to 8 years for a junction field effect transistor to be invented. Okay, the first transistor, it was a BJT, okay, bipolar junction transistor, right? Whereas a JFET was invented around the year 1955. Okay, and these two people played a very important and a crucial role in inventing the field effect transistor. Okay, so it was Ian Munro Ross and Professor G.C. Dacey. Okay, so you can just go through the picture of their experimental setup and the lab. Okay, way back in the year 1955. Okay, all right. So that was just a brief introduction about the early development of FET. Okay, once the first JFET was invented, then people just noted the various important characteristics and the advantages of JFETs when compared to BJTs. Okay, so JFET became very popular very quickly. Okay, and then it was followed by the MOSFETs. Today's VLSI industry, today's electronics is completely ruled by MOSFETs. Okay, fine. So moving forward, let us understand the difference between a BJT and a FET. Okay, well, BJT stands for bipolar junction transistor, bipolar junction transistor, and FET stands for field effect transistor. Okay, both are transistor, but they have a main primary difference. Okay, so that is a transistor. Okay, all right. The main difference is that BJT is a current controlled device. Okay, and the current controlled happens by the base terminal. Okay, so base current controls the output current, which is the collector one. Okay. The pen is having a slight problem here. Okay, we are getting unwanted lines and the shades, but okay, we'll try to be okay with that. Okay, fine. Further, coming to FETs, right? FET is a voltage control device, very important, and the voltage applied at the gate terminal controls the current in a JFET. Okay, so let us just denote the three terminals in a BJT as well as FET. For a BJT, we know that the three terminals are base, collector, and the emitter. Okay, so the input current here is base current IB, and base current IB controls the collector current. Okay, whereas in the case of FET, the three terminals are gate, drain, and the source. Okay, so the voltage applied between gate and the source determines the current flow between the voltage applied between gate and the source determines the current flow between drain and the source, which is IDS. Okay, so because of that, it is called as a voltage controlled device. Okay, so we will just look at many more differences between BJT and FET. Okay, so this table clearly highlights the various differences between a BJT and a FET. To start with, BJT is a bipolar device. Bipolar means the current conductivity is due to electrons as well as holes. Both of them contribute equally for the current conductivity in the case of a BJT. Whereas FET is a unipolar device. The current flow in a FET is either due to holes or electrons, but not both. Okay, because of that, it is called a unipolar device. Okay, if the current is due to electrons, we call it as N channel device. If it is due to holes, we call it as P channel JFET. The three terminals of a BJT are emitter, base, and the collector. The three terminals of a FET are gate, source, drain. Now, practically speaking, FET is a 4-terminal device. The fourth terminal is a substrate. Okay, it's actually the substrate, which we usually ignore. Okay, BJT is a current controlled device, JFET is a voltage controlled device. Then one more very important point is, in the case of a BJT, the input impedance, which we denote by the symbol Zi, is comparatively lesser than a FET. So the input impedance is either in ohms or in kilo ohms. Whereas in the case of a JFET, it is extremely huge and extremely high. Well, ideally the input impedance for a FET should be infinite, but practically it is pretty large and the ranges are in mega ohms. Okay. Then further coming to the voltage gains, BJT has a large AC voltage gain, whereas FET has comparatively lesser AC voltage gain. Okay, so in terms of amplification, we can say that a BJT is a better amplifier when compared to a JFET usually. Then what about stability? Stability is also a very important point. Okay, it is also an extremely important parameter that determines the performance of the electronic device. BJT has average stability. It is not so stable. Why? Because of large voltage gains. Okay, higher the gain, lesser the stability, and larger the stability, lower will be the gain. Okay, so in that case, FETs are more temperature stable when compared to BJTs. Okay, so this is a big advantage of FET over a BJT, right? And finally, with respect to the sizes, BJTs are bulkier, whereas FETs are usually small. They can be miniaturized, okay, to even micron scale and nano scale. You know, nowadays we are hearing about the term called as nano electronics. Okay, what does that mean? Here the size of FETs are in nano scale, okay, whereas the same is not possible with respect to BJTs. Okay, BJTs are comparatively bulkier when compared to FETs. Okay, so this advantage of FETs makes it possible to be used in integrated circuit chips. Okay, you can just go through the details, like how many transistors are there in i5 processor or maybe i7 processor. Okay, you will be surprised to know that there are billions together transistors which are being integrated on your motherboards. Okay, fine. Next, quickly going through the JFET symbols. Okay, you know, just for comparison, I will be drawing the BJT symbol also, so that you can understand the symbol of a JFET in a much better way. Okay, so I'm sorry, okay, that was a line which was unintentional. All right, so that's the symbol for a BJT. Okay, so that is a BJT symbol: base, collector, and the emitter. Okay, and for a JFET, the symbol is like this, JFET symbol. Okay, well, there are two variants. One is N channel and the other one is P channel. Okay, in a moment we'll try to differentiate between N channel and a P channel JFET with respect to their constructions, but symbolically how they are different in this way. For a N channel JFET, the arrow is pointing inside, okay, with respect to the gate terminal, whereas for a P channel the arrow is pointing outside. Okay, so that is one way of remembering the terminals, right? And one more important point which is mentioned here is, for an FET, the electric field is established by the charges present, which control the conduction path of the output circuit without the need for direct contact between controlling and the controlled quantities. So we'll try to stress upon this point in our further slides. Okay, what actually do we mean by controlling and the controlled quantities? Okay, well, just to make a point here, for a JFET, the controlling quantity is the voltage applied at the gate with respect to the source, which is called VGS, and the controlled quantity is the drain to source current. IDS is the controlled quantity, whereas the controlling quantity is the gate voltage VGS. Okay, fine. All right. So moving forward, we had just mentioned that a JFET is a voltage controlled device. Okay, so in your textbook there is a nice water analogy being given, so that you can understand the meaning of voltage controlled. Okay, you can just correlate your JFET with that of this, you know, simple water analogy, wherein water is flowing from source to the drain, right? So you will have to consider water as flow of electrons. Okay, if you want to correlate it with respect to a JFET. Okay, so this gate terminal is like tap here. Okay, so this knob actually controls everything, which is the gate. Okay, so as I just go on turning the knob, I can just control the flow of the water from source to the drain, right? Okay, and I can even stop it. Okay, if I don't apply any you know, if I just turn off the knob completely, then water will not flow, right? If I just open it completely, then maximum amount of water will be flowing from source to the drain. So in the same way, if I do not apply any gate voltage, then the current will be different. If I apply the gate voltage, then the current will be different from source to the drain. So that is IDS, and the voltage applied between gate and the source is VGS. Okay, So this voltage controls the current from drain to the source. Okay, so that was a very simple water analogy to understand. Next, moving forward towards the construction and the characteristics of JFET. Okay, so I'll just highlight on the terms which are present here, okay, and then I'll be drawing the same diagram again and then try to explain the characteristics and the construction in a simplistic way. Okay. So what does the structure of a JFET state? In this particular slide, it's denotes the three terminals. The first one is gate, second one is a drain, and the third one is source. So these three are the terminals. The fourth terminal is actually hidden here, but it is always present, and the fourth terminal is called substrate. Okay, usually we denote it by S dash, and normally it is being tied to the ground potential. Okay, so what do we have here? This blue colored region is of N type, and the gray colored portion, which is on the left hand side and on the right hand side, okay, they are of P type, and the dark colored gray portion is the depletion region present between P type and N type. Okay, so it is present on both the sides, okay, left hand side and also right hand side. Why do we have this? What is the reason for the appearance of this particular region, which is called depletion region? Well, we had actually heard about depletion region in the case of PN junction diodes. Okay, so what is this meaning of it? Okay, so we'll try to understand it. And one more small thing which is present here is ohmic contact. Okay, the purpose of ohmic contact is that say for example, if I am applying 1 volts at the gate, okay, then the entire 1 volts will be fed from the terminals to this portion of the device without any drop, okay, through the means of ohmic contacts. So ohmic contacts ensure that there is no voltage drop, or there is minimum drop between the terminal and the device. Okay, so that is one point, and the second point is it also ensures that current flows in both the directions in the case of ohmic contacts. Okay, so you will be finding it in every device wherever there are terminals, and the terminals are made to connect to the device. Okay, so ohmic contacts are in between the terminals and the real device. Okay, all right. Moving next, what I'll be doing is I'll draw the same structure in a horizontal way. Okay, so I'll just be tilting this particular structure by 90 degrees in the next slide. Okay, so what I'll do here is initially I'll just take a different colored pen. Okay, so the first step is to take a N type material, right? So let this be of N type. Then let us introduce a region which is of P type. Okay, so let me call it is P type. Just a second, I'll just since there was okay, so I'll be drawing it again. Okay, so that's the N region, and let us try to deposit P regions on top as well as bottom. Okay, so let this be of p type and p type. Now see, there is a junction between p region and n region. So I can just say that this particular thing acts as if it is a diode. Okay, and from the concepts of the diode or the semiconductor fundamentals, we know that if I consider the structure of a PN junction, if this is P and if this is N, then at the junction we have depletion region, right? And this, the left hand side, it actually consists of acceptor and the right hand side consists of donors. Okay, so these are acceptors and these are donors. Okay, and what about the carriers which are present in P region and the N region? Well, in the P region, holes are the majority carriers, so these are holes in the P region, and in the N region electrons are the majority carriers, so these are free electrons. Now the point is, if I just bias the diode, okay, if I forward bias the diode, then what happens to the depletion region? Whether the depletion region increases or decreases? Students, I am asking this question to you. What happens to the depletion region if the diode is forward biased?
Decreases, sir.
Yes, the depletion region decreases. Whereas if I reverse bias, okay, if I just reverse bias the diode, then the depletion region increases. The depletion region increases. Okay, all right. So keeping that fundamental point, let us try to understand this particular structure. Okay, now the three terminals, I'll just indicate it. Gate, since we have P region on the top as well as the bottom, this is also gate. Okay, now there should be only one gate. Okay, so what's the option for me? The option is to tie them. Okay, so I have just tied it. Okay, which means even though I have two separate regions, two separate P regions, I have just connected them and ensured that there is only one gate. Okay, further, the left hand side of N region indicates it is source and the right hand side indicates it is drain, although you can just interchange them. Source and drain can be interchanged always in the case of a FET. Okay, fine. What about N channel then? Okay, before that, let us just try to understand this. Now this is a region, or there is a junction between P and N, right? So obviously there should be a depletion region present, which consists of acceptors as well as donors. Okay, so in your textbook diagram you can see that such kind of depletion region is being given. Okay, now please understand, this depletion region includes acceptors as well as donors. In your textbooks they are not separately mentioned, but it should be understood that there is a depletion region. It consists of both acceptors as well as donors. Okay, fine. All right, what about N channel? Okay, see, this region appears as if it is a channel between source and the drain. Okay, so S stands for source and D stands for drain. Okay, fine. So that's the construction of a junction field effect transistor wherein the channel is of N type. Now the most important point is how to determine the characteristics. If you want to determine the characteristics, then we'll have to bias it. Okay, what do we mean by biasing? We'll have to apply external voltages. Okay, so what are the first assumptions being made? The first assumption is that the source and the gate are held at a common potential and the source is being grounded. Okay, so that means as of now let VGS be equal to 0. Okay, then since gate and source are being tied and both of them are being held at ground potential, then what about the drain? Okay, let us apply a positive voltage to the drain. So I'll just call it as VDS. VDS means the voltage applied between drain and the source. The source is grounded. With respect to the source, I'll have to apply a positive potential to the drain. So let me just assume that I am applying plus 1 volts to the drain end. Okay, what will actually happen? Fine. So let us try to understand it. Okay, fine. See, now if I am applying a positive gate potential, it means with respect to the source there is a force appearing which is trying to pull the electrons. I'll just represent the electrons like this. Okay, electrons are present everywhere in the N region, right? So they are present everywhere. So whenever I apply drain voltage or the potential, due to the application of force, the electrons which are present nearer to the source are forced to move in this direction towards the drain end. As simple as that. Okay, so the point is, let me just draw the characteristics. Okay, so this is current IDS and that is the voltage which is applied between drain and the source. Okay, so initially as I am applying the drain potential, due to the force, electrons will move from source to the drain. Okay, however, what will be the condition between these regions? Let us try to understand. Okay, see, gate is being held at a ground potential similar to that of source. So I can say that P region is held at a comparatively lower potential when compared to the N region, wherein I am applying a positive potential to the drain end. Okay, so can you tell me what is the status of this particular PN junction? Is it forward biased or reverse biased? I am asking a question to you students. Yes, see, this entire region is of N channel and to the N region I am applying positive potential and thereby to the gate is comparatively held at a lower potential. So whether this particular PN region is getting forward biased or reverse biased? Students.
Reverse biased.
Reverse biased, exactly. Okay, so I'll just write it here. When VDS is positive, the PN junction gets reverse biased. Okay, and the PN junction present at the top as well as the bottom, both of them get reverse biased. Okay, so when they get reverse biased, what happens to the depletion region width? Does it increase or decrease?
Increases.
It increases. Okay, because they are at they are reverse biased and it just increases. So what happens to the shape of the depletion region near the drain? Okay, just observe. This is how the shape of the depletion region changes. Okay, but the change does not happen at the source end. Why? Because gate and source are held at the same potential. Okay, so that these two junctions are not reverse biased. Only the junction which is present nearer to the drain, that gets reverse biased, and ultimately its depletion width also increases. So the point is, the shape of the depletion region changes like this as the drain voltage increases. The same thing also happens at the bottom side. So we call it as bulging of the depletion region nearer to the drain end. Okay, so right now let us assume that the drain voltage is 1 volt. Further, if I still increase the drain voltage from 1 to 2 volts, what happens to the shape of this depletion region? It again changes, it increases, it bulges further, right? So let me take a different colored pen and indicate it. On further increase of the drain voltage, the depletion region increases or bulges so that it appears as if both of them are trying to touch each other. Okay, now just observe what is happening to this channel. The channel is getting narrower and narrower, right? So as VDS increases, the channel gets narrower and narrower. What does that mean to the flow of the electrons from source to the drain? Students, see, you will have to understand these concepts parallelly. At one point, as we are applying the drain potential, electrons are moving from source to the drain. So initially they will be moving very easily, okay, because the channels, the width of the channel is large. Okay, however, parallelly the width of the channel is getting narrower and narrower. That means this channel is offering a resistance to the flow of electrons from source to the drain. Okay, and this resistance is being offered due to the gate voltage. I hope this is clear for you. That means although the gate voltage is 0, okay, but it is held at a lower potential when compared to the drain potential. Okay, so there is a relative difference between gate potential and the drain potential. So the point is, it is the voltage at the gate which is actually controlling the flow of electrons from source to the drain. How easily the charges can flow from source to the drain is in turn controlled by the gate potential. Okay, so now let us just go back to the diagram. What happens initially is the current just flows. Okay, although there will be a opposition or resistance offered at the channel side, but so let me just draw it like this. Okay, so this is a linear variation of the current. At some point of time, what happens is, if I further increase VDS to, say for example, 4 volts, then it appears as if the depletion region of both the P regions are trying to touch each other. Okay, in many of the textbooks they say that they are trying to, or they have actually touched each other, but in reality there exists a small gap. Okay, there will always be a small gap existing between both the depletion regions. So the state when both the regions appear to be touching each other is called as pinch off. I repeat, this stage is called as pinch off. So after pinch off, what happens is, the current tends to saturate. Although you go on increasing the drain voltage, the current will not increase further. It will just hold its initial value. Okay, so this is how the current behaves. It will just saturate. Okay, so what do we say? Till pinch off, it is linear variation, and after pinch off, so this point is called as pinch off state, and we denote it by the term Vp. So Vp is called pinch off voltage. Okay, so what do we mean by pinch off? It is the voltage at which both the depletion regions tend to join each other. They almost join each other. Okay, see, if they would have really joined, then what would be the current? See, say for example, let us just assume that this is the depletion region of the top P region, and that's the depletion region of the bottom P region. Okay, and that's the source and that's the drain, and electrons are moving from source to the drain. If there is a complete blockage, then how can this electron move from source to the drain? It cannot move, right? Okay, so that means the current which was increasing linearly suddenly becomes zero, right? Well, this usually doesn't happen. If this would have happened, then there is no meaning of the device JFET. Okay, even though you don't want to turn it off, the device suddenly turns off. Okay, so that is a bad device, not of any use. Okay, so that should not happen. Okay, and it never happens. What actually happens is, there is always, I'll be drawing it here, if this is the depletion region, there is always a small gap appearing, okay, through which the electrons can just flow from source to the drain. Okay, now some of you may ask, sir, what will happen if we just go on increasing the drain potential? If we just go on increasing the drain potential, the electrons which are present in the source, they acquire more and more kinetic energy. Okay, so that they'll just move from source to drain with an extremely high kinetic energy. Okay, but these regions will never touch each other. They appear to be touching. Okay, and this state is called as pinch off, and after pinch off, the current just saturates. Okay, so this is called saturation. Okay, so I hope that I have made the things clear to you. Further, what will happen if I increase VGS from 0 to positive voltage, or maybe from 0 to negative voltage? What will happen to this particular current characteristics? See, this is when VGS is equal to 0 volts. Okay, what will happen if I just increase the gate potential? If I apply a positive potential to it, or if I apply a negative potential to it, what will happen to the resulting current? Okay, so those things we'll try to discuss in the next class.